Hi everyone, welcome to Taking Care of You with Mrs. Magoo. I'm Mrs. Magoo. On today's show, we are going to be talking about plastics. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, plastics? Boring. But I'm talking about the plastics that are showing up in our bodies. It is a public health crisis, and the problem is most people are not aware of it. Plastics are showing up in our livers, in our brains, in our blood. You know, doctors used to find plaque in people's arteries. Well, now they're finding plastic. So this is really important information that you should know. So you put that remote down and you pay attention. You know, I get a lot of articles having to do with health, and lately I've been getting more and more about this plastic phenomenon. And I kind of chose not to read them or maybe just to ignore them because I love plastic. My whole world is plastic. So I just didn't want to know. But finally I said, you know what? You have to take the blinders off, look at the research, the studies, whatever. So I did, and let me tell you, it's not pretty. We get these plastics from water, air, consumer products, and food. Most people ingest 5 grams of plastic a week. That is equivalent to eating a plastic credit card weekly. It's also the equivalent to eating 50 plastic bags a year. Needs salt. Most of the plastic that you ingest ends up in your brain. Most people have a spoon size full of plastic in their brain. I drink water out of plastic bottles. I use plastic storage containers. I have plastic cutting boards. I drink out of plastic cups. So I'm sure I have more than a spoonful of plastic in my brain. I probably have this size spoon of plastic in my brain because I use so much plastic. They did a study on people with dementia, and they found that they had 10 times more plastic in their brain than others. But the study could not find a kind of cause and effect pathway. Illnesses can be caused by a lot of different factors, but right now they're just not really sure how much plastic is a part of all that. There's microplastics and nanoplastics. Nanoplastics are a fraction of the width of a human hair. So in other words, they're probably just pretty much invisible. Nanoplastics hijack their way through your body, cross the brain-blood barrier, and settle nice and comfortable in your brain. The human brain is 60% fat by weight, and that's far more than any other organ in the human body. You know, I wonder if that's where they got the word fathead. Plastic loves fat. It can just settle down, stick to the fat, and get all nice and comfortable. Think about if you had like a plastic Tupperware container and you add Crisco grease in it, or maybe butter or something like that. Just think about how hard it is to clean the Crisco or butter off of the plastic. So, how does plastic get into our system? Plastic water bottles are the largest pathway for plastics to get into your system. These things are really bad, and you know, I really did not want to hear this because I probably consume maybe 6 to 8 of these a day. And these plastic water bottles are so convenient. You can take the cover off, take a few sips, put the cover back on, and then if you end up knocking it over, which I do probably 10 times a day, it's not going to break and it's not going to leak. Heat causes plastics to migrate, and these bottles are stored, you know, in cases in hot warehouses. They're shipped across the country in semi-tractor trailers in the heat. So while that's going on, these plastics are all going into the water. I used to just keep a case of the bottled water in the trunk of our car in the middle of the summer, and sometimes I would just go to grab a bottle and the water would actually be warm. So do you think how much microplastics I got from that one? Well, water bottle, it looks like we're going to have to break up. It's been nice knowing you, but you know what? If I continue to have a relationship with you, I'm going to end up looking like and feeling like a Barbie doll. Bye-bye now. 42% of all plastic is used in packaging. So all the plastic in the world, 42% of it goes to packaging. Think of your consumer products like shampoo or cosmetics or medical supplies. If they're in plastic containers, the plastic has probably leaked into the product. So there's nothing like shampooing your hair with plastic or maybe putting a little plastic on your face. Okay, let's move on to food. Highly processed foods contain much more plastic than minimally processed foods. A study of 16 protein products showed plastic in every single one of the items. Now, the worst offender was breaded shrimp. And processed chicken nuggets, they're another one. They contain 30 times more plastic than a regular chicken breast. Sorry, kids. Just think of more processed, more plastic. You know, processed foods are so bad for you for so many reasons, but this is just another reason to cut down on your consumption. Also, canned goods are lined with plastic. I always thought canned goods were just metal. So there's a few more little bits of plastic to add to the mix. Plastic is also found in honey, sugar, and salt. Iodized salt seemed to have the least amount of plastic. Okay, let's talk tea. A lot of tea bags are sealed with plastic, and some of the tea bags, the whole tea bag is plastic. So having a nice hot cup of plastic doesn't sound all that cozy to me. Plastic is also found in seafood, so I would assume the ocean has plastic in it. Just can't get away from it. Now, we also inhale plastic. Microfibers that shed from clothing that's been repeatedly washed, those can get into the air. Clothes dryers, they also release plastic into the air. Tires release plastic into the air. These plastic particles in the air, they get into your respiratory system and they move throughout your body and settle down in your organs. Heating food in plastic in your microwave causes the plastic to migrate into your food. Could we maybe put hot food into plastic? That's a no. Putting plastics in your dishwasher can cause the plastic to destabilize. Okay, so let's talk about some ways that we can reduce our use of plastic. Well, let's start with one of the worst offenders, and that's plastic bottles. You could just switch to tap water. Tap water is regulated and it's safer. 1 liter of water in a plastic bottle contains 240,000 particles of plastic. A liter of tap water has 5.5 plastic particles. That is quite a big difference. I don't like the taste of my tap water, so I use a water filter. The standard Brita filter water pitcher, it does remove a lot of nasty things from your water, but plastic is not one of them. However, the Brita Hub countertop filter system is certified to reduce plastics in the water. I have one and it's just sitting on the kitchen sink. It's hooked up to the faucet. They're very easy to install. It has a little stem on it, so you just turn your water on and the water that's being filtered, put it in your glass. Now there's these stainless steel water containers. These are everywhere. This particular one can hold the equivalent to 2.5 bottles of the plastic bottled water. They are a little bit heavier than a plastic water bottle, and you do have to clean them. You can't just throw them away after every use. But I suppose it's better than having spoonfuls of plastic in your brain. So when it comes to tea, you can just brew your own loose leaf tea, or maybe use a tea ball. This, I think, is equivalent to a tea ball, but it's just a little container. You put your loose leaf tea in there, you pour your boiling water in there, and then you just put the cover on and let it steep for a bit. I actually have a Keurig coffee maker, so I just get the water from that when I'm using this kind of tea. I don't really like to handle boiling hot water. And when you brew your own tea, it always tastes so much better. And you want to make sure you stay away from the pyramid-style silky tea bags. Those are made out of nylon, and nylon's a form of plastic, and they're more expensive too. But your best bet is probably just to go online and look for manufacturers that have tea bags that are plastic-free. Another way to reduce the plastic is to use microwave-safe glass containers. I got these on Amazon, and it came, I think it was like a set of 4. They were all different sizes. It's kind of nice. It has the cover. You can put things in here, freeze it, take it out, put it in the microwave or the oven, so they're all safe in those environments. Also, when you go to the grocery store, maybe instead of buying peanut butter in a plastic jar, buy the peanut butter that's in a glass jar. And then when you're done with it, just clean out the jar and you can save it and you can use that to store your food, and you figure you pretty much got it for free. Another way is to switch out some of your products for wood, stainless steel, ceramic, and glass. Exposure to plastics can cause cancer, diabetes, arthritis, immune disorders, and the list goes on and on. Now, illnesses can be caused by many factors, but what they're trying to figure out now is how much plastic exposure actually is attributed to the cause of these illnesses. I mean, it may be a large amount, it may be a small amount, but scientists feel that there's cause for concern because there is a clear risk to human health. So in conclusion, some plastics can pass through your body on their own, but currently there is no product or procedure to flush plastics out of your system. A lot of the information that I read said, oh my God, get rid of all your plastics. And you know what, for some people, that just not is economically feasible. I don't think you can totally avoid having plastic in your life, but there are things you can do to reduce, and just do it gradually. So for example, I'll cut down my plastic water bottle consumption by like 80%. I'll start there and then work my way from there. How about switching this spatula with this spatula that's metal? They also said the dark plastic utensils, they really have a lot of plastic in them, more than I guess the ones that are lighter colored. But you know, that's a start. Or how about switching out this plastic container for this glass container? And you figure it's not going to cost you any money. This had food in it. And you know, these containers are kind of nice because you can see what's in there. So you just do these things gradually and it will help reduce your consumption. If you want to keep some of your plastic containers, that's fine. Just don't heat up food in them and don't put hot food in them. So now you have all this fabulous information. You can do some research yourself, look at some of the studies, and just take a look at all the facts. And then you decide what you think is the best thing for you and your family. Cheers! Well, that's all the time I have for today. I think this is one of the most depressing shows I've ever done, but I promise the next show will be funner. Our quote of the day is, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." That was said by Oscar Wilde. Thanks for spending the time with me today. I hope you had a few laughs and learned a thing or two. And please don't forget to take the time to take care of you. I will see you all next time. Bye for now. Hey everyone, did you know you could watch Mrs. Magoo on YouTube? Simply go to YouTube and type in "Taking Care of You with Mrs. Magoo" and watch an episode.